So throughout our course, we've discussed this concept of what right do we have as consumers of digital and social media to what we see online, to how we interact with it, in what ways we're able to choose what content we'd want to choose to see or to like or to share. And in this final section of our lesson, we have the concept of moderation. And in my own personal experience, I have had content flagged maybe once or twice on Instagram, and when Tumblr decided to go rather heavy-handed on its safe for work movement, that changed a lot of perceptions that friends of mine who had Tumblr and interacted with that platform had of said platform. So there's a lot to be said about not understanding, as consumers, not understanding the extent to which we are being censored in a way, or how this censorship occurs, why it occurs. And as touched on by West, there's a question that comes up as to the role that a company has in educating its audience. So for this final vlog, we are expected to incorporate B-roll and to answer some questions pertaining to moderation, and to our perceptions of moderation in social media and in the digital scape in general. So the first question is, how do social media and digital media platforms moderate their content? And I think that a lot of people jump right to the algorithm that's referred to by YouTubers, or bot moderation, or flagging. At the end of the day, I think there's a disconnect from our own personal experience on an app to hundreds and hundreds of workers who, around the clock, are watching and reading and consuming content in order to ensure that it upholds the terms of use that have been set forth by companies. We read an article and watched an accompanying video from The Verge, in which there was a discussion about these contractors, as well as non-contracted employees through, say, Google, for example, whose job it is to consume dangerous, psychologically disturbing, or otherwise heinous media for the sake of maintaining a platform's dignity and appearance and terms of use. I will say that prior to reading these articles, I didn't understand the concept of another human being visualizing my content, and I think that this alters my perception of social media in a way that my content is not just mine. And I know we've touched on this before, and this is a commonly known thing, but your content is genuinely seen by hundreds of people, no matter who you're sending it to or what platform you're using. And so we really have this increasing need to be aware of how our content is being digested, not only by our followers or our family members or our friends, but also by moderators. At the end of the West article, there's an interesting conclusion that West provides that suggests that we should receive more education from moderators and from companies as to why content is being taken down, as well as better education in terms of understanding what kind of media is and is not appropriate in the first place. I think that there is a part of me that does agree with West's suggestion, And there's a part of me that does not agree with West's suggestion. Starting with the part of me that does not agree with West's suggestion, I would myself suggest that there's an extent to which common sense is able to mitigate our ability to understand what we should and should not be posting online. And in having age requirements on platforms, Instagram, for example, I think is 13 years of age, we're being set up for a platform in which we can expect a certain discourse, and a certain discourse that bars violence, gross negligence or abuse, slander, hate speech, and terror. And I would combat this perspective with the desire for more education when it comes to hate speech, for example, or when it comes to hate speech, for example, or when it comes to the unjustified removal of content, messages from organizations saying that content has been flagged, but not providing a reason for why it was flagged, or providing a simple categorical reason but not going into depth. I think that in this regard, this is where West was really trying to hit the mark, and I agree with West in this way. We should have some more interaction. It is social media after all. There should be some additional sense of social interaction or interaction in general with the platform itself, so that we feel as if we are being protected by the platform and not disenfranchised by the platform. I will say, as with many of the other topics, we have the autonomy to ask for this change as a collective user. And I would hope that as social media becomes more and more critical and pivotal to our lives, to our social development, and now in a world where we are so digital, I would anticipate that there's a need for us to understand terms of use, to understand our role in social media, and to understand where our potential to infringe on the free speech of others should be informed. And I don't think that having content moderated is a form of disqualifying free speech. I think that it is a form of ensuring safety. But I also beg the question of, is there an extent to which a line can be drawn between maintaining safety and free speech while also providing users with an interactive medium by which to continue to say what they want to say, even if it doesn't vibe with the social media platform that they're posting it on. So with all that said, this has been my final vlog and the final lesson review, touch base video for INTS 249, digital literacy. Next week we have our final submission for the object lesson. I'm very excited. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and stay safe.